You know, peoples, just wanted to go over a few things with you. Now I'm about to take the oil pump cover off to investigate how bad the oil pump is, because it's stopping the motor from turning. Now, a few things that you need to be aware of. You need to have a screwdriver. I'm not too sure the size of it, but you need to have a screwdriver that's going to fit into the synced screws, that fits nice and snug, like so. Now, even though this is the perfect fit, they are really tough to get out. So some of them ended up like that, and I actually thought that I was going to lose the battle, but I didn't. So you got to give it a whack with a hammer a few times too, just to help crack the seal around the thread, around the tops, and really yeah, give it a good turn. Now I put a spanner on mine because even with myself I couldn't turn it, so I put a spanner on the end and to help turn the screwdriver, like so, you know. And ended up winning that battle. And to get the harmonic balancer off, what I used was the old SADS coupling, and I put it on, and I used a few washers and whatnot here, like so. Screwed them right down, did that on all three, and then I undid the center bolt, and that bring as the center bolt came up, that pushed against the coupling and worked as a pulley to get that harmonic balancer off. Now I don't know if it's a good idea to do that, but I decided to do it because I knew that I've had this bolt out already, and looked at it and I thought that's pretty strong, you know, it's not going to bend that any way, shape or form. So I used the coupling and the center bolt as the pulley to get the harmonic balancer off. So I don't have a pulley, so that was my idea of doing that, and the trick worked. So now I'm going to go under the van, and I'm going to take the pump cover off, and I'll bring the camera under there with me, and have a look how bad it is. Okay, so I'm under the van now, and I think the camera is pointing in the right direction here. I can't really see the camera very well. I'm moving my hand here so I can see kind of movement in the camera. I think I could probably turn the camera a little bit more. Yeah, that should be enough. Okay, I'll get me oil pan ready and catch any oil that may come out. I'm just going to use a spatula to get this off. We need a new gasket on that. New O-ring. Oh, I don't know what you can see to what I can see. She looks like she's all jammed up in there. There's something I can feel on the outside of this. She's got a thread pattern about her. It shouldn't be there, it should be nice and smooth. So something has gotten stuck in there and seized it all up. Okay, see if I can just work out the screwdriver a little bit. Could really use a ramp for this. Oh, it's broken, look at that. kaput. Okay, well there you can see what the problem is there. Got a nice snap right here. And yeah, got a nice snap in it there, and it'll be a bit of a trick to get it out, I think. I'll just go grab the pulley, the harmonic balancer, and see if I can kind of turn that a little bit either way to help me work it out. There she goes. Bloody hell. Here's kaput. Now I'll give you a better look on the outside. Oh shit. Oh, she's completely stuffed. A bit of damage on the camshaft as well. Oh, I can't help that. Stuff now. Give it a bit of a clean and take a couple of photos as well, just to get a good idea what's going on there. Not worry about the degree they're going into that wheel. Just want to get a good look at what's happening here. To continue on where I left off, I can't replace the timing gear on the other side, obvious reasons, and the oil pump because the other one's broken. It's left damage on the inside here, so even though I can sit that in there like that, this side, the other side won't sit all the way in because there's a lip on there. If I do it like that, it goes all the way in, but it's not going to sit straight, and if I try and force it in, it's going to jam in there, and that's not going to be any good either, like, because it's just going to cause the problem to seize all up again. So where the lip is along here. There's a lip in there that's been created from the old oil pump gearing that's generated in there, and from there to there there's a lip. So I need to work that down, and I'll try and zoom in for you. It's a bit hard to share the camera and the little room I have with you, but I'll try. So it's on that side there. Sorry, I'm just pointing at myself so I can know where to zoom in on the camera, because it's looking at the screen, it's all reverse. Anyway, you might not be able to see it. Anyway, so I've got to try and fix that up so the sleeve can sit there properly. So I'm going to use a little rotary tool. I might just take a photo of that. No. Now obviously this is really wrong. It's not the ideal way to be doing this at all. When you have no choice, you got to make do with what you got, eh? So don't take this as a fix. I'm merely showing you what I'm doing here as an educational thing. Maybe this is how I should word this, is how not to do an oil pump change. But anyway, got to do what you got to do. About there. Can't work on the car every day, so I do it when I can, but I'm using that little stone there. I was able to smooth it out, and it's all looking good in here at the moment. So the next part is, I don't have the O-ring to go around this, and I'll look for the old one, because I prefer to use the old one as the most I can, because when the oil pump cover goes back on, it's supposed to be flush metal to metal, so I can't make a gasket to go between that. That's why it needs the washer there. So I'm going to have to use silicone and apply it in the same day, and try and keep silicone mostly to this side of the oil pump, so when it squashes, it's going to squash into the form there for the gasket, or for the O-ring. And yeah, that's just going to have to do the trick for now, because I've got to work with what I've got. I don't have the time to muck around, and nor do I have the facilities here set up properly to do this. So eventually I have to drop the motor out of this one day. But anyway, just showing you what I'm doing and how I end up the results and so forth when I get to the end of this. Alright, so that's it for today. Yeah, and I'll just continue with the next step, make it all one video. Alright, so continuation on here. I'm going to put this cover back on, and I was sitting up here and the tripod decided to break. How I missed the days when things were made out of metal, things were built to last. Today's rubbish. So all I can do is explain to you what I'm doing, and try and grab footage in between. So for right now, this is the old O-ring that was on there, and it's hard. I'm going to reuse that though, because Toyota over here want a crazy 40 bucks for it, and I'm not paying 40 bucks for an O-ring. So I'm going to put it back into the oil pump seal there, back into mostly where it fits back in. And so first of all, I've already cleaned the surfaces. As you can tell, that's shining there, and there was a bit of roughage there, so I've smoothened it off. And same with up there. That's get your hand right. I've been up there and cleaned that as best I could too. So now I'm going to just put a smear of silicone all the way around this, and the part that's missing is where I've got to fill that bit in by hand with the sealant up there. And I'm going to put it around here as well, not too close to the hole here. That's just oil return for when the oil pump's pumping oil, gets in behind the main seal there, and comes back up and returns back to the motor through that little return hole. So I'm going to get into it, and once I'm ready to put this cover back on, I'll show you what it's at, where I'm at. And also on the oil pump itself, I just need to before I put that on, once I've got all the silicone and everything in place, I need to just put some oil on this and put that back in place. Okay, so that's the silicone I'm using. That's the end of the tube too, so I had just enough. And you can just look up that name and read about it. I'm not going to read any packaging on it. The screws I got, replacing it with Allen key fittings, Allen key screws, and I had to shorten them to be the same length as the originals. I'm using 4 originals. That came out nice, and the others got wrecked, so replacing them. And yeah, like I said, I had to shorten the newer ones to be the same length, which is 5.25 mil length. And on the car itself, it'd help if I had the light on. Just do that. If I stop shaking long enough so you can see it. So now, and I've put gear oil around that. It's thicker, and it'll stay still longer without running down and getting them away. Don't have to use gear oil, I just chose to because that was the closest thing I had really. So now I'll put this on, and I'll show you it all back together there. Okay, so the cover's back on. You can see how I put the Allen key screws up the top area, and it's pretty easy to put back on because you've got the guide holes here. They go onto the I don't know what you call them, pivot pins I guess, and just that holds it in place. You put your screws back in. I'm giving it tension straight away while everything's soft because it needs to be flush. It can't be like, I can't add a gasket that's going to give like a mil space there because that's going to screw up the gearing on the oil pump. So while everything's soft, screw it down, tension it up, and having those Allen key screws at the top there will make that easier to get to take off at a later date. Trying to get up there for a screwdriver after 20 years, or in this van's case 29 years of not being turned, not being serviced, the screws were near impossible to get out. I was lucky to get them out, so that's why I replaced them. And I've used 4 of the good ones, of the 4 4 original screws down the bottom area still. No point spending money, even though it's just a couple of bucks, no point spending money on things you don't need. And replace the top ones with Allen key, so, or hex key, whatever you want to call it. Every country is different. And the main seal, I also put that in with the red silicon gasket maker. I know it holds up temperatures up to I think it's 500 degrees or 750 degrees, something like that anyway. Well, something that's ridiculous. The van will never get that hot. And yeah, I'll just wait for that to well, I don't need to wait. I need to work on the next part here of getting the harmonic balancer on. So yeah, onto that. Alrighty, so getting back to this now. I struggled with the back key, trying to work out what to do. I was thinking about putting JB Weld on, which I will do a little bit, and Loctite and so forth, if I can stop the bolt from turning and it can't twist out, you know, that will help. But I still wasn't overly convinced that it was going to do the job properly. So I decided to put the drill to the front of it and see if I could drill a hole. Because I was actually thinking I'd fail, because I thought the cam and the harmonic balancer would have been a really tough metal to drill through, but turns out it's actually pretty soft. So I'm going to put a key in the front, just a little homemade key using a drill bit here. It's a whole tensile steel, and I'm going to put that in with, I'll get that in as far as I can by hand, and I'll mark that where to cut, and then I'll push that in with JB Weld and tighten her up before the JB Weld gets a chance to dry. So as the bolt goes down, if it pulls the harmonic balancer any further down, it's going to push that pin in a little bit tougher as well. And that's how I'm going to get past or over this broken key from the back without pulling the cam out. I'm going to make my own cam from the front. And now the harmonic balancer is lined up properly. I've had it all bolted together, because without anything being on it, it's quite happy to be there. And the timing mark does come down to 0.5 on the timing. Now, and given that if the timing was correct, that's exactly where it should be, but that's the only section I get to play with, and the harmonic balancer seems to sit nice and snug in at that point there. So that's as close as I'm going to get it. I have actually got numbers, I don't know if you can see it from here, but I've actually got numbers on the harmonic balancer to know where the harmonic balancer was out, so I knew where to turn it to until I got it to the right point and tighten her up. So this video is basically for anybody who's just interested in what I'm doing. Maybe you've got the same problem and you're looking for a workaround like I was. I've never seen anybody do this. It is backyard bodgy brother stuff, but hey man, I don't really have a choice. I need to get this van out of here. I'm keeping the van, I just needed to move it from where it is, and I can't with nothing working. So I gotta get it all working. So right now I'll get that, push that in tight. I'll get my marker, I'll mark that, and what I'll do is yeah, I'll just mark that, then I'll get the grinder, cut it off, and JB weld it in, and I'll also use some Loctite, not too much, just a little bit of Loctite on the thread when I put it all in. So once I've got all that in, they should be nice and snug and ready to crank over tomorrow with all the front accessories working. Alright, so I'll leave this here, that's what I'm doing, and yeah, I don't think I need to show you again with the bolt plugged in, or bolted in, plugged in, but I can show you it's all working. Well, let's go back together, running beautiful. So I'm hoping that I've got enough steps all the way through. This is only interest people who really wanted to see what my solution was and how I ended up, if she worked out or not. And the van's been idling now for about an hour and not overheating, not using water. So everything's good. So for those who found an interest in this clip, thanks for watching. It was rather long. And yeah, that's an alternative way to fix it. Not the recommended way, but an alternative way. If you ever come across a situation where you're stuck in the same boat as me, that's one way to fix it. Well, it's probably the only other way to fix it. I couldn't think of anything else. So yeah, thanks for watching again, guys. And yeah, until next time. Cheers.